There's a huge misconception amongst realtors that in order to switch brokerages, you need to dislike your brokerage, you need to have a fight with your broker, something needs to be wrong, you need to be unhappy where you're at. And that is completely untrue. In fact, I have helped so many realtors switch brokerages, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of conversations with agents who are ready to move, thinking about moving, and actually moving. And they often are not unhappy where they're at. They actually just start to feel either misaligned with their brokerage, they feel like they need more, or they're missing something from their brokerage, or they're ready to kind of stretch themselves, challenge themselves, or they just need a better model, like technology wise or opportunity wise. And so essentially it's either a better personal fit for them, or it's just simply a better business decision. At the end of the day, we are running businesses. And so many times I talk to people who really are ready for a change, but they really like the people in their office, or they really like their broker. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they need to make a decision if they're going to follow the right business decision or if they're going to stay where things feel more comfortable. So you might be in this place where you're feeling like maybe you should switch, but also maybe nothing's really that wrong. So sometimes when we're in this place, we actually don't need to switch brokerages, but sometimes we do. And I've talked to so many people who waited, and they know now, looking back, that they lost a lot of money, time, and opportunity. So there are 5 signs that I've seen over and over again from people who were ready to move. And I'm going to share the 5 signs with you in case any of these are you. So again, doesn't mean anything's wrong, doesn't mean you have to move tomorrow, but if any of these sound familiar or feel like something you've been feeling, it's a good sign that you should at least start exploring your other options. Sign number 1, you are producing, perhaps you could even be considered a top producer, or your business is going okay, it's not suffering, and you're closing transactions, but either things feel like a constant push, it's harder than it needs to be, or you're getting really comfortable, really complacent, things are getting kind of stagnant, you're hitting the goal, but you're never going to the next level, or you're starting to feel a little bit burnt out, even though technically things look good on paper. So what's happening here with most people is that they're not in an environment that either encourages them to think bigger, to do things differently. There's maybe not a lot of collaboration where you're getting inspiration or you're learning ideas from other people. You're not in an environment where you're being challenged or thinking of new ideas, or you don't have anyone to talk to about your ideas. Maybe you have big ideas, but they don't fit in where you're at. So this is a sign that you need to be in proximity with people who are more open to collaboration, maybe people who will give you different ideas, maybe someone who will push you a little bit or inspire you, people who are doing things a little bit differently, gets you out of your comfort zone and gets you to go to that next level, or to go forward, but with a little bit more excitement again, a little bit more curiosity again in your business. So I've talked to people who were 15, 20 years in their brokerage, great businesses, everything was going well, but they just felt like they're doing the same thing year after year, and they're ready for like a little bit something more exciting or something different in their business. And they're just not exactly getting to that next step. And oftentimes once they came and they went into a different environment where they were in a room with people who were doing things so differently, and ideas were being shared, and they're getting invited to different types of events and go to things that they would not usually do, then they get that inspiration back, they get that spark back, they start to push past the barriers that they once had in their business. So proximity to people who are thinking differently, doing things differently, and collaborating differently is huge for your business if you are fitting into this bucket number 1. The other thing to note here is you could absolutely just pay for proximity. So you don't need to switch brokerages. You could join high-level masterminds, coaching, group coaching, things of that nature. However, that requires time and commitment to be able to have time to be in these groups, to go to these events, to do these things in order to actually get a benefit from it. And it also requires the money to do that. So if you don't have the finances, or you don't feel like you have the time, the easiest, fastest way to do this is actually just to be in an environment where people are naturally collaborating day to day in your business, where you're connected to people who are going to inspire you, who are going to grab you and pull you into rooms that you don't usually put yourself into. I love to do that with agents. I'll book content days, or I'll find different events, and I will tell people, let's go, you're going with me, or you need to go here because I saw this going on in your city and it's great for you. And sometimes people just need someone to do that for them. So you need to find a way to get yourself in these rooms, and proximity, whether that's through a change in your brokerage or through paying for that, is something that could totally help with this. Now, the next sign is that maybe you're growing, but your environment isn't. So maybe that's the brokerage model. Maybe that's the technology, the platform. Maybe again, it's the people, the proximity. Maybe people are really used to doing things a specific way. You have different ideas. You want to be a little bit more bold in your business and people don't understand it or they're not there to support it. And it's giving you this pushback. So when you've outgrown your environment, again, that could be systems, technology, people, there's so many layers to this. It could even just be the basic business model of the brokerage. This is a real clear sign that you should start considering other opportunities because you do not want to be in an environment that is holding you back in any sense. Naturally, we evolve as people and as business owners. And sometimes when you first join a brokerage, it is the perfect place for you. And I think it's important to recognize that people make changes in their business and it's perfectly natural and okay to look back and say, wow, I was at the right place at the right time, but now I've outgrown that. And we can be grateful for what we've received from that brokerage or from the people that we were with there and still gracefully move on to something that is more aligned with our future business and where we're actually trying to go. Sign number 3 is you are loyal. Maybe you are very happy, but you don't either feel completely supported or perhaps you feel like the fees or the cost is not necessarily worth it. So there are some great brokerages out there, but I do hear from agents that they're paying way too much. They're giving away too much of their commission. The fees are too much, the desk fees and all of the other things, or they feel like they are loving their brokerage. They love where they're at, but they do need a little bit more support. So just because you're loyal doesn't mean it makes you a bad person to consider other opportunities. At the end of the day, there is a way to leave an environment with grace and with respect and while acknowledging that you are ready for a little bit more or that perhaps you need a little bit more or you just want your dollar to stretch a little bit further. So if you're paying a lot in fees or it's costing you a lot of your commission, then it could be time to consider a change. Some brokerages have a model where the commission split is not that much, but it's forever. And so if you're a top producer, you have a high volume of transactions, that model might have made perfect sense when you first got your license or when you first joined. But over time, you might find that you're paying a lot more than somewhere that has a higher split but has a cap to that. So that's something to consider. Next, we have sign number 4, which is perhaps you are ready to scale your business in a different direction, or you're ready to look for alternative paths of income. Maybe that's even considering a way to retire or to pass your business off to someone else. And so if that's something you're starting to feel, you're ready to scale, you're ready to branch off, but you don't actually know if you can do it, you really need to look into that. And then if you can't do it where you're at, or maybe you find out you can do it, it's still smart to look at what other brokerages are offering because, again, this is a sign that you're transitioning or you're ready to transition in your business. Even if it's not going to happen for several years, you want to make sure that you're in a place that is going to allow you to grow to where you want to grow. Now, the final sign, sign number 5, is that you're just feeling like you need a change. You can't quite put your finger on it, nothing's wrong, but you feel like it's just misaligned or you're ready for something different. You just don't know what it is. That's okay. Like I said at the beginning of the video, nothing needs to be wrong. In fact, most people that I've helped move brokerages, they actually had nothing wrong where they were at. They were just simply ready for something different. So if any of these 5 signs are familiar to you, it's time to start considering your options. I'm always available to book a call if you want to learn about Real Broker. Real Broker might be the place for you, but maybe it's not. There's nothing wrong with exploring your options. I highly encourage you to use the Zoom link down below. We can compare brokerage models, talk about your business, and see what could be the right path for you forward. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.